Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's AJ Wrights Crypto, and welcome to another episode of Trade Crypto Today. Trade Crypto Today is my daily crypto show where I give you one trading idea, one chart for you to set some alarms to run with to react to the market. We went over a video yesterday where we kind of went over a bunch of charts that we did and how successful all those shorts were. And then the market crashed. I mean, it was the largest liquidation of the year happened last night. A lot of people are freaked out. A lot of people are worried. This is what I'm going to say about how freaked out am I? Am I selling my alt? No. Am I worried? So let's talk about that. First of all, am I worried? Well, CZ from says the real bull market may have not even arrived yet. Definitely check out the newer video from Altcoin Daily. There, CZ has a handful of clips about how he thinks the real market hasn't even come in here yet. And BNB was hitting all-time highs. BlackRock scoops up over $500 million of crypto in a week. This story is from 2 days ago. So when BlackRock buys $500 million worth of crypto, do you think BlackRock's here to scalp trade? Do you think BlackRock's here to take 4%, jump in and jump out like a leverage trader? Hell no. BlackRock is here for the long term. BlackRock is making the generational play with a $500 million buy. And these crashes like this happen to scare you out of the market before the real money comes in, before the real millions are made. Do not get freaked out over this. I have more evidence to show you why I'm not freaked out. All right. BlackRock scoops up $500 million. The U.S. is pushing the SEC to open the $12.5 trillion 401k market to crypto. This will happen. This will happen. It hasn't happened yet. Trump has signed, Congress is nudging, and now the SEC is weighing in on letting Bitcoin and private equity into America's $1.5 trillion retirement piggy bank. Remember, the total market cap of crypto, the entire thing currently sits at $3.83 trillion. So imagine if the $12.5 trillion door gets opened for crypto. You get my point. Also, this is the progress that the total crypto market cap, all the cryptos added together. I mean, just from October of 23 to the tippy top, crypto up 314% over 676 days. And last night was literally from right here to right here. I'm not that worried about a drop that small. I mean, it was really only 6.3% that we totally lost. And at the same breath, we've been in this confirmed uptrend this whole time. And what happens is, when you have a sharper uptrend inside of a larger macro uptrend, this is called a bump and run. We do this in my TA all the time. The bump and run I gave you guys on the chart yesterday played out perfectly. And if this breaks, that's okay, because this will become the target, and it could fall all the way down to right here, the 2021 high of $3 trillion. It could fall to $3 trillion and technically still be in a macro uptrend. So don't freak out. Do not panic. In terms of the total chart, I would be looking at this support resistance level right here, this previous high, 3.74 trillion. That will be an alarm I would like to see you guys set. And if that alarm goes off, obviously, that gives you a hint. Hey, maybe I should start looking at some shorts here. Also, I wanted to talk about kind of what happened yesterday. So the crash is largely the result of a shifting global monetary policy. The recent Fed rate cuts resulted in a short rally, but a somewhat firmer dollar and renewed global market jitters created a lot of selling pressure, driving treasury yields higher and sparking a gold rally in the process. And it's also really important to hear that a lot of crypto is led by liquidations. All right. And right here, Bitcoin saw over 100 million in long liquidations as the price dropped below 115,000, triggering what they call clustered liquidation levels. And the chart was most vulnerable around 113, 114,000. And I think anytime there's a heavy heat map, I kind of always think as vacuum. I always think as volume as like a vacuum. And wherever the most amount of volume there is, the price will sway there to scoop that money up, to vacuum that money up. And I think that volatility equals volume. And when I think volume, I think vacuum. So that's when we always talk about the indicator on the chart, the visible range volume profile that shows you where the most amount of volume is in the time frame of the chart. I always kind of use that as a gauge for future price action because the price is likely to come back to vacuum that liquidity out of the chart. All right. So yeah, really important to point that out, that this had a lot to do with liquidity. And also this chart right here from Ted Pillows. Someone said that he stole this chart. I don't know whose chart this really is, but this is actually extremely important that I want you guys to understand. Since what has been happening with Bitcoin since July. All right. And here, let me actually move my head up here and make myself a little bit smaller. Save, update layout. Okay. So as you can see here, all the way on the left, we have Monday high, Tuesday low, and the next Monday recovers. And then we have Monday high, Tuesday low, the next Monday recovers. And look, Tuesday low, the Monday's higher. Tuesday low, the Monday's higher. Tuesday low, still Monday slightly higher. Tuesday low, Monday's higher. Tuesday low, Monday about the same. Monday about the same. Monday higher. Tuesday low, Monday higher. Tuesday low. So you get my point here. You get my point. We have the Monday high, then we have the Tuesday low, and then we've spent the rest of the week basically recovering what happened after the Tuesday low. And this has been going on since July. This is something that we have all been privy to for a while. That's a while. A lot of my trade setups kind of get posted, on Tuesday, Wednesday. We've known about this for a while. They just kind of put the chart up and explained it in basic details. This isn't like new math or anything. So we're going to expect another Tuesday low and then hopefully spend the rest of the week recovering. And talking about Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, the way Bitcoin has been working is that it has been since 2025, it has been in these downtrends here, and then it breaks out of the downtrend. And then look, another little downtrend here, and then it breaks out of the downtrend. This is not, news for Bitcoin. This has been going on all year long. So let's get rid of these downtrends because they already have been broken out of. And now what now? We are starting another one of these downtrends, just like we have before. We also have massive support resistance right here, this level. All right. We also rejected here. You can see how many times it fought. We bounced off it. Here's a floor ceiling support resistance level at 107.6 thousand. That would be an extremely important level for Bitcoin to hold. And then if we were to lose that level and drop to this blue line, I think this blue line, this low right here, is probably the most important level for Bitcoin to hold, basically 99.2. So $99,200. This short right here is one I do not want to see happen. I would like to see Bitcoin kind of bounce off 107 and then continue on, because the truth is, similar to how I was talking about the bump and run idea, like with the total chart. So we have the sharper uptrend here. We could fall all the way to here and technically still be in this macro uptrend. Is there a bump and run happening with Bitcoin where we just lost this sharper uptrend here, but the larger uptrend is actually all the way down here? Bitcoin could overnight fall to 84.5 and technically still be in this macro uptrend. If I look at the daily chart, it might look like a little messy here, but you understand that Bitcoin could suffer that fall and still be in an uptrend. So it's not that big of a deal when you really consider all the bullish concepts in the background, all of the institutional buying in the background. Yes, this dip happened. It was sudden. It was the largest liquidation event of the year. But I think the important message of this video is, guys, don't panic. Crypto is crypto. The Trump administration is still working its magic. I am not giving up on the concept of a bull run, even if it doesn't happen when we all want it to. According to the Bitcoin halving, by Thanksgiving, we should all be having a party. If it goes into 2026, I'm not surprised. But the end of the story is that I believe it's going to happen, and that we will see an altcoin run, and that the altcoin run we saw at the end of last year, as long as we can agree that that was not the bull run, we're all on the same page. So don't get freaked out. Don't lose your minds here. But I just kind of wanted to give you guys some levels just to go back to the Bitcoin chart. Big alarms for Bitcoin. 107,690. 107,690. Make sure you set these alarms on your own chart so you can react. And then if that happens, the target becomes let's just call it 99K. Okay. Those two levels are extremely important for Bitcoin to break. And it's also super interesting looking at this 2-hour chart, the previous high right here where we were rejected down from, that would serve as breakout confirmation for this new downtrend that we have formed here. And that level is 118.2. Let's just call it 118.3 because 118.3 will have broken. Wait. Yes, 118.3. All right. And that's also currently where the point of control is on the visible range volume profile. So it's also kind of important to point out, like even from back here, even if you just measure from where we are, Bitcoin has spent more than 133 days in a 25% range. That's really, actually it's been longer than that. Let me measure exactly. So from right here is where Bitcoin broke out. So Bitcoin has spent 83 days in a 15% range. And then from here, Bitcoin has spent 138 days in a 25% range. So, like I always tell my Telegram group, anytime something ranges sideways, good, because now we know the parameters. Because if you want to scalp trade inside of the 20% range, okay, you can do that. But when it either breaks the top or loses the bottom of that 20% range, 25% range that it's been in for 100 days, that's the real trade. And as long as you can define those parameters and have those alarms set, you can properly react to the market. The trick to crypto is to not guess, but to react. And that is how we have made so much money on this channel. So last thing I want to talk about is Bitcoin dominance. I did give this to the Telegram group. Here, let me put my head back in another spot here. So Bitcoin dominance, I even asked CryptoFace, hey, does divergences work on dominance charts? And he said, of course they do. And I sent this chart to him and to my Telegram group that Bitcoin dominance was forming a massive bullish divergence here. And since then has kind of wicked off the 50 EMA. On the daily chart. So that's actually keeping me optimistic that it's below the support resistance level. It went above it, it hit the 50, and then it's gone below the support resistance level on Bitcoin dominance at 58.74%. 58.74%. That is an alarm you're going to want to keep on your Bitcoin dominance chart. And then also this previous low, 56, let's just call it 57%. If this alarm goes off, that is a big sign for the bulls. If it continues down, because if you kind of look at the drop that we had in Bitcoin dominance, yeah, that's not bad. Like we had a nice drop, but this drop over here, all the way on this side of the screen, this was the Bitcoin dominance chart during the 2021 bull run. And yes, we have finally broken out of the uptrend, but we still haven't seen, the cascade fall down. Like, Bitcoin dominance at the top was, in December 2021, 39%, 40%. Right now, Bitcoin dominance is still 58%. So Bitcoin dominance still has a long way to fall. And I think some of these alarms like 57%, 54.3%, you want to keep an eye on this and this bullish divergence that happened on Bitcoin dominance. We did kind of see this coming, but let's hope that it gets rejected. And also the others chart is the last thing I wanted to talk about before I talk about a quick altcoin. The others chart is the entire crypto market cap minus the top 10. And, it kind of gives you a better vibe for the general altcoins compared to just total 3. And, really, everyone's freaking out about a drop, but really, we really only fell, if you're 13%, that actually is pretty brutal of a drop. But the important thing here is that we're still in this uptrend. Bitcoin, the others chart has fallen from December 24 all the way down to April this year and has continued up since. And even if we come back, to here and continue up, we're in an uptrend, and we would actually have to go, below 222 billion to lose that technical uptrend. And I don't think that's going to happen. And I still think even with this right here, we're still fighting the 50 EMA. This easily can continue. And the reason I think we're going to see a run like we've never seen before is that it's been putting in higher highs as it's gone down. So as we go into 2026, getting into the 600 billions for all the cryptos added together underneath the top 10, that's a pretty bullish signal that it's been putting in higher highs. And as long as that we stay in this uptrend, I'm technically sound with this, even if we see, little dips along the way. Yeah. So guys, remember BlackRock still buying. US, we're about to open up a $12.5 trillion door. BNB says the real market's not over yet. But quickly, I wanted to talk about Aster, a coin we all talked about, the high stakes war between Hyperliquid and Aster. Hype was one of Andrew Tate's picks. Aster is a competitor to that. I watched the video saying that CZ owns like 80 or 90% of it. There's also like some insane allegations about Mr. Beast accused of insider trading with Aster, but the chart itself has actually been really good. We talked about that same bump and run strategy here. I gave you guys this setup in Telegram group a couple days ago, and this actually worked out so well. From the confirmation breakdown to the bump and run was an 18% trade, and to the low of the trade was a 28% trade in less than 24 hours. And guys, if you want to join my Telegram group, send an email to ajalphagroup@gmail.com, and you will get these setups, these same alarms that I'm using for my personal trades before anyone else. This my I've been in everyone else's Telegram group and made the group I wish I was in when I was learning how to trade crypto. So make sure you sign up for the group if you're not in it already. So we kind of nailed this setup in the group, but Aster is now kind of really resetting, because now I kind of look at this 155.7 alarm as, yeah, you could have scalped from here up 4%. You could have scalped from here down 17%. So this alarm is viable. But what I'm looking at now is, you see how here it had like this uptrend breakdown. Well, now even right now we kind of have an uptrend, and are we going to see that breakdown? And if I was to go long on Aster, I would want to see the break of this alarm right here, not the local high, not this high right here, but this high right here, because Aster has not been able to be above that level since it got rejected from it back here. And this is, Aster's been trading in this 27% range for a day and 7 hours. And this alarm right here at 165.9, so let's just call it 166. 166 is your bullish go long alarm for Aster, where I would use 150 or 140. Yeah, well, let's correct this to 149.5. I would use that as my short alarm. So bull alarm for Aster, 166. Long alarm, 166. Short alarm, 145. Awareness alarm, 155. Because it has been ranging since then, and we're actually looking for this uptrend break. Is that going to happen, or is it going to continue running up? And that's why we have 166, and that trend line would be right here like this. So there you go. There is your altcoin trading idea of the day. Today, obviously, was a longer video than usual. Sometimes it's just the one idea, but sometimes when a massive event in crypto happens, I want to break down the entire thing. I want to explain what happened, or should you be concerned long term? What's actually happening with Bitcoin dominance? What about the total chart? And guys, it's really not that big of a deal. Like I said, liquidity is like a vacuum, volume is like a vacuum, and when there are vulnerable levels on the chart, you best believe that it's going to chase those liquidations. That's how price action and market makers work. I don't understand all the mathematical equations that I don't like no one knows why charts pump or dump the way they do, because the truth is we don't know who's about to click sell or who's about to click buy. But the best thing we can do is use support resistance, use Fibonacci, use basic patterns, technical analysis to react to when significant events happen. And that's really how I can sum up my crypto strategy, is reacting to significant events. And that's why we set alarms. So guys, that's all I got. Make sure you subscribe to this new channel, Trade Crypto Today. Smash the like button. Have a safe rest of your day. Get rich or get wrecked. Peace out.